Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, folks, the portal is heating up, and there's a lot going on. You've got CORMANI McClain could be heading to the Gators. Going to talk a little bit about Chaz Lanier, also Tyler Barron. We also had a basketball player that got a $2 million NIL deal to play basketball up in Washington. Yeah, $2 million big ones. We're going to start with CORMANI McClain. Now, as you know, he was a five-star. He initially looked like he actually committed to Miami back as a senior in high school, but then he wound up flipping to Colorado, which Colorado actually flipped 2 5-stars, also an offensive lineman that looked like the Vols were going to get. But he didn't work out at Colorado well at all. I thought that was a perfect fit for him. Deion Sanders, one of the greatest cornerbacks of all time, head coach there. I thought he would mold him into basically into a great player. And Deion's got another 5-star corner that goes both ways that has done great there at Colorado. So he has a history of working well with young men. But things didn't work out so well with our CORMANI. It looks like he didn't want to attend classes or was late for classes, and he wound up getting suspended by Deion Sanders and eventually entered the transfer portal. He did play some. He started in 4 games, played okay, but didn't exactly excel. And that was because some guys had gotten injured. Now, he's got all the skills in the world. He's 6'2", long arms, can run a 4.5 40. He's very good at high pointing balls. He used to be a wide receiver. And so they like the fact that he's an ideal fit at cornerback. And you don't get a 5-star by accident. But he recently visited Florida. And you can see him here. They're doing the photos for him and all that kind of stuff, getting him used to possibly playing for Florida. So he's not committed yet, even though it says commitment on the back of his shirt. So we'll see if he winds up committing. Now, understand, Florida has already used all 85 of their scholarships, so they don't have any more left. He would have to come in as a preferred walk-on, and then they would obviously could get him an NIL deal that would pay for his school. The question is, look, he's down there with his agent, so he's going to expect some money. How much money do you put into a fella that didn't work out with Deion and actually talk smack about him after he left? And then Deion and his son, they kind of snapped back a little bit at him. So Billy Napier is going to be taking a risk. You're also got to consider the culture inside the locker room. You know, is he going to be a good fit? You need to think about that, because when CORMANI left Colorado, actually one of Deion's sons said, you know, they were kind of glad to see him go. Wasn't a good fit in the locker room. So it's really going to be interesting to see how this goes. I think there's a lack of maturity there with this young man, and you hate to see anybody waste talent. And look, when you're a 5-star, you're at the absolute top, but you still got to work your butt off. And to leave Colorado and then go into the SEC, that's a very different conference. Look, the SEC is the top of the top.
Give them nothing, but take from them everything.
And you're not going to be able to go in there and sort of halfway it. You've got to go in full bore, because nobody cares how many stars you've got. Once you get on an SEC field, they're going to knock crap out of you. And those wide receivers that you're going to go up against can fly. You know, they're going to say 4.5 40. Watch this. It's going to be an education for sure. Now, he would not be expected to start because Florida's got 2 very good cornerbacks there, Jason Marshall and Devin Moore. And both of them are going to end up playing on Sundays. So he wouldn't be expected to start. But can he handle that? Can he handle sitting on the bench again like he pretty much did at Colorado? That's obviously an important question. So I'm not going to root against him. I like to see people get second chances. I like to see them humble themselves a little bit and realize you're going to have to work your butt off. And here's the thing about Billy Napier. You're not going to be able to show up late for meetings. You're not going to be able to break rules and stuff like that. Napier, he'll just put you off the team. He's not going to mess around with it. And you got to realize, too, he's probably going to be telling him on the front end, if you sign here, understand these rules are very strict for you. Because, look, he's got a history now. So I don't know if this is a good fit for Florida, but Napier is so on the hot seat anyway, he may be thinking, crap, I'd better take the talent I can get. It's tough when you get on the hot seat like this, especially with the schedule they've got. I don't know. This is a 50-50. I wouldn't be paying him a lot of money. I can tell you that if I was the head coach. I wouldn't risk it. And I think he'd be better off going to a smaller school get on the field and sort of grow up a little bit and then come back to a big school in a year or two and then get your big paycheck. And there are some smaller schools that would pay you and give you a scholarship and do all that. It just feels like, from everything I've read and seen in reports and stuff, that he just needs a little bit more time to grow up, is really what it is. And like I said, I hope it works out for him. I'd like to see him get it turned around and have a good attitude and wind up being successful. That would be, I always like to see people have a second chance and get squared away. That's a better story, believe me. Anyway, let's move on to the next player we want to talk about, and that's Tyler Barron. This guy has lived in the portal for months now. First, he committed to Ole Miss. Then he committed to Louisville. Now he's back in the transfer portal. This is all in one offseason. And he's a graduate transfer, so he can pretty much transfer as much as he likes. And since he went from Ole Miss to Louisville, now he could even pick an SEC school if he wanted to, for example, going back to Ole Miss. Now, talk out there is that the Miami Hurricanes are in the lead for him, and it looked like he was going to sign, I believe, last weekend, but then he went to USC. So it looks like it's between Miami, USC, and then Ole Miss might be a fallback position. It's hard to say, but he has lived in that portal. He should have never left UT. I think he misses UT, and he played very well for us. He was a very good player. Now, he wasn't James Pierce level, but he was about a notch below that, and he will play on Sundays. He's probably going to be a 4th, 5th, 6th round guy and make some good money out there. He's a solid player. Don't get it twisted. All right, now we're going to talk about Chaz Lanier. Now, this is a guy that Tennessee and Kentucky have really been fighting over, and Tennessee was big time in the lead, and then Mark Pope showed up on the scene. And I always worry when you don't get a guy committed early and you're in the lead, because it gives people a chance to catch up. Now, the reason he didn't commit was because he wanted to explore the NBA option, getting into the draft, and then he wound up getting invited to the G League Combine. And he didn't exactly kill it, so I think almost certainly he's going to wind up back in college. And here's what I'm hearing, okay? Now, I've contacted some people that are close to people in Knoxville and close to the university, and most of them think he's going to sign with Tennessee. That's not a guarantee. It's impossible to know for sure. I don't even know that Chaz Lanier knows. Honestly, he probably does not. Now, I can tell you that a big-time recruit in a transfer portal, and this shocked me. Great Osabar announced a transfer with a $2 million NIL deal heading to Washington. Now, this guy's a great player. He scored about 18 points a game. He's 6'8", 250, a fine scorer. He's just an all-around excellent player. But $2 million surprised me.
Woo! 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 Ow! Love that money.
Now, I can tell you it was reported. I don't know. Now, I can't confirm this, but my understanding was Dalton Connect got $700,000 to come from, I believe it was Colorado State. And that worked out great, obviously. Basically the National Player of the Year, in my opinion. So we'll see. I would think Lanier's looking at probably at least $1 million that he's gonna have to get to choose the Vols. You know, the guy was scoring almost 20 points a game, 6'4", excellent shooter, shoots over 40% from three, and would be an ideal fit for the Vols. I think they're going to probably put him in the Dalton Connect role. Now, I don't expect him to play like Dalton Connect. I don't expect anybody to play like that. But it would be a great pickup for us. Mark Pope is doing everything he can to get Chaz, but he's still filling out the roster, so he's still after multiple other players. I think Tennessee's pretty much focused on Chaz, and he's probably going to see that over time. I would expect him to have one more visit to UT and one more visit to Kentucky, get their best offer, and then pick the situation you think is best for you. That's what I would do if I was him. But that's everything I've heard, and I've tried everything to get information on Lanier, and that's the most I could get out. But it does feel like the Vols are still in the lead, but the Wildcats have closed the gap significantly. I would probably put it at 55-45 right now. Vols slightly in the lead. So we'll be watching this closely. He'll probably commit the next week or two, if I had to guess. All right, folks, wanted to cover the transfer portal. There's a lot of news going on out there. Very interested in that CORMANI. We'll see about that. That one's... Can't tell if that's going to work out or not. And I don't know if that's a good choice for him as a player or the Florida Gators, but who knows? Maybe it'll work out and he'll succeed down there. And as far as Chaz Lanier, we'll be watching that one as closely as anything. I think that's the final piece of the puzzle for 2024-25 Tennessee Volunteers basketball. as far as their key players. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's continue to cover all this sporting news. If you've not subscribed, hit this little button right here. Will not cost you a dime. It helps me out. A lot of you watch my videos and you'll hit that little button.
Come on. Come on.
Oh, okay. Okay, sure.
It won't hurt you. And right over here is the most recent video. YouTube, thanks you'll enjoy based on your viewing history. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.